to make a new type of news.
New insights, new styles, new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Making news just for you. It's April 25th here in Seoul. I'm Shin, and this is News Generation, where we make the news at Arirang's very own open studio. Every morning, we'll discuss top issues and latest current affairs affecting people in their 20s and 30s. Joining me in the studio is Choi Ji-hee.
Good morning, Ann.
And Kim Si-young.
Good morning, Ann.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. We're going to start with the news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending on social media over the past 24 hours. South Korea's National Health Insurance Service on Monday found that more than 4,000 people made at least $41,000 a month outside of their regular income. They now have to pay an extra $150 in a separate health insurance premium because of how much they make. Now, this type of premium is slapped onto people who make an extra $15,000 a month or more. The NHIS found the number of people who pay this premium doubled in 2022. Have you ever tried dried seaweed, also known as the black semiconductor of Korea, because of how popular of an export it is? Well, from now, try remembering it as kim. That's what it's called in Korean. Though it's made from seaweed, kim tastes a bit different. Unlike seaweed, it's dry and it's usually used as sheets to roll or wrap rice with, such as the kind you're seeing with kimbap. Korea's Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries found that last year alone, kim exports amounted to around $620 million. It was also the most popular product sold among all types of seafood. From next year, children and teenagers in Korea can ask the government to take down social media photos of them when they were taken as when they were young. More specifically, embarrassing moments or pictures that were taken without them knowing and then uploaded. Now, this is to tackle sharenting, which describes parents oversharing things from their child's more intimate moments. And the Personal Information Protection Commission on Monday launched a pilot project with people aged 24 and under to first try deleting old posts from the past. Now let's take a closer look at the third news item. From next year, the government will take down posts of people who were 18 or younger at the time the photos were taken and did not give their parents consent to upload pictures of them on social media. How? Well, for starters, to apply, you need to be under the age of 24, then visit www.privacy.go.kr. From there, you will be matched to a government official who will guide you through the process and help you take down the post of concern. But this service isn't available yet because it's being tested. Currently, people under the age of 24 will only be able to erase posts that were uploaded a long time ago when they were young and they didn't have access to. Now, this seems to be a right step in the right direction for better privacy on social media, and officials are well aware that old posts can embarrass or even sabotage an individual's livelihood. So what are your thoughts on this, Xiang?
Yeah, I mean, sort of the Generation Z, we call the guys who were born after 1998, are exposed to social media and, all sorts of electronic devices from a very young age. So we've been having smartphones from a very young age where we are used to uploading pictures of ourselves and have a discussion going on social media, which might increase the chance of some of the mistakes we might make on the online space as well. And I mean, if you think about it, there has been cases before. If you know a rock band back in the 90s called Nirvana,
right.
Their Nevermind album, which was a huge hit, it was a blue swimming pool type of album cover with a baby floating in it with some dollar bills and things like that.
Right.
And I think that was actually a lawsuit in the United States as well, as you might know.
Last year, Spencer Eldon, the baby on the cover of Nirvana's 1991 album, filed a lawsuit against the band saying that he did not give consent of having his photo taken. And it was, as you mentioned, a baby nude in a swimming pool. And he was only 4 months old at the time. So he's saying, I was not saying yes to this picture, and I'm not okay with this picture being used and for everyone to see. So I believe that privacy doesn't seem to have an age, right? You can be enlisted for your right to privacy whenever, regardless of how old you are. What do you think about this, and what do you think about the government's measures to regulate sharenting?
Well, I agree that privacy rights shouldn't have age limits, but I will understand if they do have age caps, because some people may take advantage of this to gain profit, maybe. But there's the age limit of 24. I mean, with the pilot program that the South Korean government has recently introduced, I think it's pretty reasonable because by then we're all adults and we're able to think for ourselves and protect our own rights. And also at the same time, I'm very very glad that our society is seeing this new movement regarding privacy rights of children, because I've always thought it was a huge problem in our society, in the Korean society in particular, that parents and children, they're not very independent of each other. You know, often parents believe that children are their possessions, but they're really not. They're individual entities. They have their own rights, and they have the right to protect and stand up for their own rights. So I welcome this move by the government.
Do you possibly have a picture you want to delete from the
Of course, there's so many pictures.
So maybe the age gap should be more than 24,
it should
actually.
Be. I hope it's actually extended, and this year it's going to be done as a pilot project, but from next year it will kick off, and I hope our generation's opinions, like raising the age cap, can be taken in for officials to consider. Now, moving on to our main discussion, for the first time in 12 years, South Korea's president flew to Washington, D.C. to meet his U.S. counterpart for a state visit. Now, the South Korea-U.S. summit will kick off tomorrow on April 26th, and Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol will meet with U.S. leader Joe Biden to discuss a wide range of issues, mainly joint responses to North Korea's nuclear threat and partnerships to develop more supply chains for high-tech materials. In light of that summit, NewsGen this week is also going to look at the close connections between South Korea and the United States. To find out what exactly we'll be talking about on day one of the summit, take a look at the screen. The links between South Korea and the U.S. aren't limited to defense and industry. Now, it seems that K-pop is also connecting East and West. Just last week, K-pop girl group Blackpink headlined the U.S. music festival Coachella. BTS's member Suga recently released his single People Part 2. This debuted as #1 on the digital song charts on the American Billboard charts. K-dramas and K-movies have also paved the way for the two countries to build a stronger bond. The movie Parasite was the talk of the 2020 Oscars, winning several awards, including Best Picture. The 2021 Netflix series SquidGame became the first non-English program to win America's most prestigious TV awards, Best Lead Actor and Directing at the Emmys. And K-reality shows like Fiscal 100 have also captivated the American audience. Today, NewsGen looks at 3 questions. 1. How big of a role does K-culture play in bringing South Korea and the United States closer? 2. What makes K-culture so appealing to the American public? 3. How has K-culture promoted Korea's national image in the States? How has this benefited or affected Koreans living there? So today we'll be talking about K-culture, the glue that's helping bring Korea and the U.S. closer together. And the two countries' cultural bond actually dates back to the 1950s, when the Korean public was able to listen to American music like pop and jazz on the American Forces radio channel. It was only in the 90s when Korea started sending its music and movies abroad, and Korea hit jackpot with its cultural exports from 2012 with Psy's Gangnam Style. And since then, we've seen many other artists, movies, and celebrities promote Korea's image and content across the United States. Now, Chi-hee, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to Korean culture, but I'd like to first focus on K-pop. So why don't you tell us the history of K-pop and how it became so big in the States?
Well, Korean pop and the idol culture, it seems new, but it's not something that newly emerged because it dates back to the 1950s, like you said, after we signed the Mutual Defense Treaty with the United States. So back in the 1950s, there was this group called the Kim Sisters.
The Kim Sisters?
Yes. They were a Korean-born pop music trio who spoke no English, but they sang American songs in a very phonetic way, and they gained complete popularity in the United States. So they're deemed as the first Korean singers, groups, to have even achieved appearing in the Billboard chart for the first time.
Really?
Yes, that's right. So they really laid the groundwork for today's K-pop superstars.
Definitely.
But considering that they didn't know how to speak English, they sound different from the K-pop stars we're seeing now.
True. So we can fast forward to the 1990s, and we have the famous Seotaeji and Boys.
Yes.
They are considered the K-pop group in Korea that are closely similar to the K-pop stars that we're seeing right now, and they really became the driving force for all the establishment of the 3 major entertainment companies in Korea: JYP, YG, and SM. They were all established in the 1990s, and we also have HOT, BoA, and Dongbang Shingi, who are considered the first generation K-pop stars. I'm sure we have some fans here.
For
among
sure.
our
I
panels
love
and-
TVXQ.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, today I want to skip because there's so much to talk
There's
about.
so much to talk
Let's
about,
talk about
yes.
our fangirling topic later. But anyway, so today K-pop grew so big in the United States to the point that BTS has the most #1 hits on Hot 100 chart of the Billboard this decade. And one of the band's members, Jimin, achieved the greatest success after going solo. We all know that. And of course, very recently on the 16th of this month, there was Coachella, and the
Yes.
headliners were
Blackpink.
Yes.
They were amazing there.
Your area.
Yes. Yeah, we have a blink here. Now, Xiao, what about K-pop, K-movies and dramas? They're pretty popular in this.
Oh yeah, hugely as well. You know, not only the US but globally as well, the Korean cinema has taken the world by storm. So as you've mentioned in the VCR already, things like Squid Game TV show, you know, the actor Lee Jung-jae won the
Yes.
Outstanding Actor Award, the first as an Asian male in the world to win that type of Oscar.
Very proud moment to be Korean.
Very proud moment to be, very good time to be Korean
Yes.
indeed. As well as, you know, directors like Park Chan-wook with his film Old Boy, you know, breaking the scene into the world cinema with his movie Old Boy back in 2004, I think. As well as Bong Joon-ho with movies like Parasite. They've all been making a huge scene in the cultural area.
Definitely, and thanks to that, we've been seeing more Korean celebrities step foot into Hollywood, right?
Definitely.
So, Xiao, who was the first one there, and who are some we might be seeing on the silver screen soon?
Right, I mean, if we're going to take it back all the way to the first one, I would say Philip Han, back in the 1930s, was a Korean-American an actor who took a lot of roles. I think he has about 180 credits under his title as
wow.
well. And he was actually the son of a Korean independence activist called An Chang-ho. Very famous, you all know, we all learned it during history classes as well. And afterwards, of course, we've seen Korean celebrities like Rain, Jung Ji-hoon, Lee Byung-hun making the scene with their Speed Racer, was it, and G.I. Joe. We also saw Ma Dong-seok, the big armed guy in Marvel's Eternals for Gilgamesh, playing the role of Gilgamesh. We also saw Bae Doona, which is also one of my favorites as well. Bae Doona is also a favorite of what are two of my favorite directors, Wachowski brothers, well, they're sisters now, so Wachowski sisters. So Bae Doona has been taking a lot of credits for that. As well as I think Lee Jung-jae is going to be in the new Star Wars film. And tell us about your favorite.
Yes, I cannot wait to say this, but Park Seo-joon, he's gonna be on the Marvels this year. So
There we are.
The line continues on.
There we
but
are.
another important aspect of Korean culture is its food. How big is K-food in the States right now?
Well, first of all, as a foodie and a lover of K-pop food, K-food.
We love K-pop.
I love K-pop and the
tarts.
food. I'm really glad that it's gaining a lot of popularity, not only just worldwide, but especially in the United States as well. Videos and photos of Korean celebrities in particular having their Korean food and even making some of the cuisine or something like kimchi.
Yeah, Cardi B making kimchi by
Yes,
herself
yes.
as well.
Those have gone viral and they're really contributing to the increase of popularity of K-food among Americans. And the most famous and popular K-food would be K-barbecue,
Oh,
right?
I love
Yeah.
K-barbecue.
We all love our barbecues.
Big thing in the US.
It's a big
apparently,
thing, and it's not just that particular cuisine that they like, but they also like the experience of
course,
grilling
yeah,
the
yeah,
meat by themselves,
Yeah.
and that's something that adds to the fun of eating this particular K-food. And I hear from my friends in the States saying that they see Korean restaurants and barbecue restaurants everywhere that they live in, so it's
true
really
these
easy
days,
to
yeah.
access and have their Korean food if they're having a craving too.
Right.
And also K-diet.
K-dieting, it's so important.
Exactly,
Yes.
it's very important. K-diet, the dietary plans are very different from the conventional dietary plans because they don't help you lose weight in a short period of time, but they're very balanced, nutritious, and delicious at the same time,
Yes.
which is why it's gaining a lot of popularity in the States as well.
Right, and a lot of K-pop stars share their own secrets of dieting,
Oh, yes.
which allows
Yeah.
fans to try it out themselves. Now, also Korean fashion and beauty has taken the world by the storm, And because of all these different cultural aspects, a lot of people from America have stepped foot in Korea to tour around. We recently saw a lot of American students come to Korea too, right?
Yeah, I mean, Korean products and, especially beauty products have been breaking the scene, the market as well, with like sort of the natural dewy look.
Yes.
Like I guess you would have, maybe Chini right now.
Dewy look.
Yeah, the
Dewy?
Korean makeup trends and things have been big in the YouTubers in America and all over the world as well. And following that, we've seen quite a few American tourists coming into South Korea as well. So last year, a report released by Korean Tourism Organization stated that by October, America was the #1 tourist intake to South Korea from all over the world. And following that, we also had 105 high school students from New York's Democracy Prep Public School visit Korea as a sort of a school trip. Going to enjoying a bunch of different Korean cultures. They went to the KISS, I think, the Korean Culture Center that you could experience K-pop dance moves, learn about the culture, about the cuisines and things like that. They also got to meet their peers in different Korean high schools and do a cultural exchange and get to know the generation from other countries better as well.
Yeah, and I wish more cultural exchange like that happens. And to find out more about what Korea and its culture has to offer to Americans, we're going to now hear from a millennial in Hawaii right after this. So we're now going to be hearing from a big K-pop fan living in Hawaii. It's Tiara Newton. Welcome, Tiara.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
Hello, Tiara.
Now, Tiara, I can't help but notice you already have a sign up there with one of your favorite K-pop stars. So why don't you first start us off by telling more about yourself, which K-pop group you like the most, and when you started listening to it?
Okay, well, I first got into K-pop in 2005. I originally watched Korean dramas starting in 1999, and it's when I watched Full House that I learned about B, about Rain, and that just kind of opened the whole world of K-pop. And from there, I fell into DBSK, and just went from there, big bang, and now I am a super fan of Monsta X.
And did you make that sign yourself?
I did. There was one year I went to 3 of their concerts, so I brought that sign with me to each show.
That's really
Fantastic.
nice. The next question I'd like to ask you, though, is K-pop is so popular around the world. Why do you think so? And, thanks to K-pop, a lot of people fall in love with K-food, other parts of K-culture. Do you agree with this?
I do. I think the music is really different than what's coming out in America right now. It's really catchy. I know for the younger people out there that love to dance, learning those dances, I see it all the time on TikTok and Instagram. It's just really appealing. Not to mention the reality shows, seeing your idols on it and how they interact with each other. It's like getting to know them personally.
Right, and because of K-pop, you get more access to K-food, K-dramas, and other elements of K-culture, right? A lot of Ks right there.
Yes. Yeah, I think like you mentioned, the music and the dances, they're very catchy and easy to follow, which is why they're very viral online as well. And like Yeon said, about K-food and K-dramas, are there any places you can enjoy these foods and dramas and other K-pop stuff in the States?
Yes, so actually right now I'm in San Diego, and there are a lot of Korean restaurants down here. There's Korean supermarkets. You can go to Noraebang, you can get KBBQ, you can get bingsu. There's so much that you can get out here.
Yeah, I mean, so do you enjoy, you're a big fan of Korean foods as well? Do you also, because I guess social media is a big aspect of sort of pushing these Korean culture out as well. I think the point is the younger generation really fell in love with the Korean culture and produces all these content that could further promote K-culture by itself. What do you think about that? And what are your personal experiences as well?
Well, for me personally, I get to learn about a lot of the new artists through social media. Um, it's the end of the day. I don't have a lot of free time after work, so I'll just scroll through Instagram, and that's where I'm learning about new songs that are coming out. And of course, young people are on Instagram and TikTok all day. So I think
Sure.
it definitely helps to expose them to a lot of Korean culture.
Do you plan to visit Korea someday soon?
Yes, I would love to go back in the spring or the fall next year. I've never been to Jeju Island, so that's on my bucket list.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
All right. Well, we'll hope to see you here in Korea
Very
very soon. Thank you so much, Tiare.
Thank you, Tiara.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Like Tiare, there are a lot of global viewers out there who watch NewsGen who are interested in Korean culture, K-pop, K-music, a lot of things that start with K. Now we're gonna look at the screen to see what a few had to say. So we chose 3 of our viewers' comments and we asked what their favorite Korean cultural content are. Jack Thompson said, "My favorite K-drama was Iris. It had so much good action and was so intense." Benedict D said, "Favorite K-pop group is absolutely Girls' Generation because they're the greatest of all time. My favorite Korean food, I would say bulgogi for sure." Besby0124 said favorite Korean food, kimchi, bibimbap, japchae, bingsu, and etc. Now, there are a lot of things that our viewers seem to be interested when it comes to our culture, but I personally think that K-pop, K-dramas, and K-movies are a tip of an iceberg when it comes to what Korean culture has to offer.
Right.
What do you think about this, Chi? Which areas or things would you like to see from Korean culture be promoted more abroad?
Well, there are 2 areas that I want to see being more promoted, and you mentioned in your newsfeed kim, right?
Yes.
Dry seaweed. I'd like to see more agricultural products being promoted because unlike the K-pop, K-music, and K-dramas, it seems like they're not very promoted a lot. So I hope that good agricultural products, they can be known and recognized for their pronouns, their real names like Kim, a lot more.
And even rice.
Even rice
Korean
too.
rice is
Pop.
amazing. Yes, pop.
Yeah, exactly.
And lastly, Shio, I think we briefly mentioned this. It's so proud to be Korean at this stage,
Right.
right? How proud are you to see K-culture take the American public by the storm?
I am so proud. I mean, it makes a whole difference. I mean, back in the days when I was in the UK as well. I mean, Korea's. If I say I'm from Korea, most people will say, "Oh, are you from North Korea?" Half jokingly, half thinking, "Oh, there must be, the North Koreans all over the world as well." And nowadays it's going to be more like, "Oh, I've seen SquidGame.
Yeah.
Have you watched SquidGame? It's a new TV show. What can you recommend? Cinemas, movies. What songs do you know? I know
food?
this." Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, I had tried this food. Oh, I know a good Korean restaurant down the street." And it's made a whole lot of difference, and not just for Koreans themselves, but I think the sort of Asian culture in general have come up for a new high, and then being appreciated a bit more around the world as well.
And we'll be hopefully seeing more of that as recently, earlier in the morning, President Yoon did secure a deal with Netflix, $1 billion deal as that is.
$2.5 billion
Yes,
for the next
2.5
4 years with
Exactly.
Netflix.
So
Yeah,
we're going to
huge
be seeing a
investments.
flourishing amount of K content hit the United States. Now, we'll be here every day from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Choi Ji-hee
Always my pleasure.
and Kim Seong.
My pleasure as well.
And thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We are
News
Generation.